Worrying is a universal human experience, but nobody ever seeks more. The answer seems obvious, but have you ever considered why? We're evolutionarily hardwired to worry. It's part of what's allowed us to thrive. Long ago, two early humans heard a rustling in the bush. One worried that it might be a tiger, while the other was sure it was nothing and went to investigate. We're descended from the guy who didn't check. And if you could design a new species, worrying about danger when there isn't any is far better for survival than the opposite. It's why we tend to feel anxious with uncertainty. Worries can be positive if they inspire action. Chronic worrying, on the other hand, is linked to numerous health problems: hypertension, GI issues, trouble sleeping, pain. And the reason you or someone you know can't stop worrying might be because the solution is counterintuitive. Worry is like quicksand. Our gut reaction is to get out as quickly as possible, so we struggle against it and then drown because of our efforts. The only way to escape is to lean back, float, and gently make our way through. Learning to live with worry is what limits its power. And I should know, because I'm what professional psychiatrists would call annoying. Oh yeah, you think you're good at worrying? This is the big league, son. You're against pros now. Health anxiety? Ooh, I bet diseases they haven't even discovered yet. Work worries. I've lost sleep, worried about losing sleep because I have a big presentation, and what if it doesn't go well because I can't sleep? You ever anxious because things are going well? Every day of the week, baby. But the title of this video is still true. I'm gonna share with you several techniques that helped me thrive among my worries. And I'll be honest, these strategies do help you worry less. But the key difference? I still worry, they just don't bother me like they used to. Hi there, welcome to part 1 of our 5-part series. Hey, did the water suddenly get warmer? We're gonna do a few exercises that require you to accept and play with your worries rather than resist and attach importance to them. It's going to feel disconcerting at first, but remember, thoughts aren't dangerous. Only actions can be dangerous. Playing with your worries doesn't make them any more likely to happen. They're not predictive, they're based on fear. And if you watched a scary movie 100 times, it'd probably be less frightening, right? Start a new note on your phone and make a list of all your chronic worries. It's okay if you can't think of them all right now. Try to check your list each time you notice a worry. If it's not there, add it. If it is, you don't have to dwell on it because you've got it saved and can come back to it whenever you want.
Hey, what are you doing this weekend?
Oh, I don't know, I'll probably just... You're trash! How could you be so bad? I'm doing everything myself! Go on some dates? Nothing in the future except quality content from Mimir is certain, which makes our anxiety about uncertainty pretty hilarious. Studies have suggested that some people would rather hear bad news than live with uncertainty.
Doc, you're back. How'd the tests go?
I'm sorry, Mr. Mimir, it's bad.
Oh no. Cancer?
No, it's worse. I haven't even looked at the results yet. Now, worries are thoughts based on fear that depict something bad in the future. And because we hate uncertainty, we strive to obliterate them. We argue and try to disprove them. We go to Google to convince ourselves. We go to others for reassurance, but it's really hard to prove a negative, and there are only so many beers you can buy someone before they won't listen to you talk about what if Yellowstone explodes anymore, so then we try just to not think about it. And when that doesn't work, we browse social media to distract ourselves until we see a post that re-triggers our worry. Worries win every time. People make worries worse with 2 intuitive methods. The first is treating the worry as a vital warning instead of a thought. For example, you might treat a worry about developing schizophrenia as a signal of schizophrenia instead of a signal of nervousness. Schizophrenic people don't worry about developing schizophrenia. Nervous people do. Now, disprove developing schizophrenia as a possibility. Summon Einstein, Thomas Aquinas, and Confucius to make the strongest argument on earth. Get Johnny Cochran to plead your case, and guess what? Yeah, but what if you get schizophrenia? It's a circle. There's no escape because what can you say is impossible? Okay, so maybe you acknowledge your worries are unrealistic. Maybe you're worried about how much you worry. This is the second problematic method. Just stop worrying. Calm down. Have you heard this before? Attempts at thought suppression only grow the thoughts you want to ignore. Hey, do not think of a white bear for 2 minutes. Don't even think of the words. Starting now. These strategies exacerbate worries. The first strengthens the connection between your worries and anxiety. The second makes your worries more prevalent. You need to live with worry. Welcome back to part 2 of our 5-part series. Hey, are you feeling what I'm feeling? It's warm down there. This time, we're gonna practice familiarity with our biggest worries. Write down your scariest, most recurrent worry. Make sure you fit as many horrifying details as possible. You might be in serious discomfort just putting this down. That's okay. Now, repeat your worry aloud 25 times. You'll likely notice that your last repetition caused less stress than your first. Repeat this exercise regularly. It's more important to do it consistently than do it many times in a short period. This helps address what psychologists call cognitive fusion. If you are bitten by a dog, you might become afraid of dogs. You might feel uncomfortable when a pet food commercial plays. Your fear might spread to other four-legged mammals. Maybe you feel discomfort hearing the word dog, so you avoid all media about animals. You might stop reading the news in fear of seeing a dog story. The word dog can't bite you, but you've given it the same properties and danger of the animal. This exercise will help defuse that cognitive fusion. And it doesn't have to be something that actually happened. The same logic applies to worrying about getting cancer or other what-if statements.
Sir, we have a problem. Oh my god, Jenkins, you'll get matches. You just made your profile yesterday.
No, sir, it's the body.
Hey, acceptance is the first step. I can take you to the gym, little buddy.
Sir, he's trying to control his thoughts.
You mean?
Yes, sir.
Oh no. Turn on the amygdala. Do it! Now!
The brain was built from the bottom up. You got the brainstem, which is responsible for necessary functions, like subscribing to Mimir on YouTube. Then you've got the limbic system, which is responsible for emotions, like the joy you feel watching this. Then there's the neocortex, which makes up our rational mind and conscious thought. Many people believe that control over our minds begins here. You can't control your emotional reactions or your heartbeat, but you can control your thoughts, right? Have you ever had a song stuck in your head you couldn't get rid of? Your automatic thoughts are like background music in your brain. You can't control them any more than you can control your emotions or your physical sensations. If you could, you wouldn't be watching this video. What you can control are your actions, and your actions can train your brain to get less attached to your thoughts, good or bad. Meet the amygdala. This cheeky rascal manages your fight or flight response and is much faster than the cerebral cortex. If you're in the middle of the road, the amygdala sends you jumping out of the way. It doesn't wait for your rational mind to brainstorm options, then list pros and cons. The amygdala means well, but it's kinda stupid. It doesn't use language, and it can only send information to the cerebral cortex. It can't listen, and it learns by association. So if you got dumped in a coffee shop and had a panic attack, you might feel anxious whenever you smelled coffee, and no amount of rationalization would make you stop. So the amygdala silences the prefrontal cortex, can't be reasoned with, and remembers to be anxious through association with things or events. Sure would be inconvenient if it was activated anytime you were afraid. The good news is it can learn. The bad news is it only learns when it's activated. In other words, you have to give your amygdala opportunities to recognize there's no danger when you're afraid, which means accepting your worries instead of rejecting them. Welcome to part 3 of our 5-part series. You can't tell, but I just did something relieving. You can't change your reaction to worry if you don't recognize when you're doing it. Brainstorm your triggers to anxious thinking. These might be what-if statements. What if I lose my job? These might be movies that play in your mind depicting horrible future events. You might find yourself making plans for unlikely catastrophes. Try to be mindful and look for your triggers with curiosity. Don't judge them, just see how many you can identify. Once you identify that you've been worrying, only one question determines whether you actually need to. Will this change my course of action now? If you had a problem you needed to solve, you'd know. If a stray dog bit you 5 minutes ago, you should already be calculating how many months you need to be homeless to pay for the ambulance. If you catch yourself thinking, what if this dog bites me? Yeah, what if? A good worry shows up seldomly and spurs you to action. A chronic worry sticks around, doesn't have a solution, and does not change your behavior. And if you don't need to worry, use some of the tools we've discussed in this video and see whether any help. Welcome to part 4 of our 5-part series, I peed in the pool. We're shockingly being taken off the air, so I've got 2 exercises for the price of 1. Schedule your worries in advance. This is my favorite tool. It could be Tuesdays and Thursdays. It could be 10 minutes at noon every day. I wouldn't pick first thing in the morning or last thing at night, but experiment and see what works for you. When worries pop up at other times, acknowledge them and let yourself know that you're going to worry about them during your worry sessions, just not right now. Then when the time comes, worry to your heart's content. Worry like your brain owes you money. You might find it's over sooner than you'd think. What you worry about usually doesn't matter. Chronic worriers don't have an endless stream of worries. It's often a handful that get repeated again and again in a loop. The next trick is to treat worries as a symptom of nervousness. When you notice a worry, accept it, and then move on. If you're hungry, your stomach growls. That's just what the body does. If you're nervous, the brain creates worries. That's just what the body does. Don't treat your worries any differently than your growling stomach.
Dude, I just finished this game and it's amazing. Highly recommend.
No, it's not. The music is uninspired, the gameplay is rushed, and the plot is trite.
But you liked the setting, right?
No? How unoriginal can you get?
Yeah, you know what? You're right.
Huh?
What else?
Well, I think the characters are poorly designed, but surely you disagree, right?
Nope, you're spot on. Keep going.
You know how I get along with my contrarian friends? Humor them. Humor your worries. What if I don't know I have cancer? Yeah, I hope that happens. I hope I go to the doctor for a routine checkup and I have the biggest, baddest cancer they've ever seen. I hope they name it after me. What if my pitch goes poorly? Yes, and what if I pee my pants while I'm giving it? What if the clients circle around me and point and laugh? There's no way out of worries if all you do is deny them. See what happens if you let them run their course. Unfortunately, there's no one-size-fits-all solution for these things. For instance, some people experience an increase in pain with mindfulness meditation focused on the body. I'm not a doctor or a psychologist, and it would be irresponsible to suggest that one YouTube video could substitute for ongoing therapy and further research. I wish I could do that for you. But if you or someone you know is struggling with this, look out for yourself. Use what works and reject what doesn't. Hopefully this gave you a new perspective to approach the problem. Now, I'd like to thank the sponsor of today's video. Me! That's right. Since none of my viewers are subscribed, I could use all the time I spend on these videos doing literally anything else. Sleeping, eating, putting in extra hours at my real job. Okay. But you get my point. If only there were some free way for my viewers to let me know it's worth continuing to make these videos. Oh well, if I think of something, I'll let you know. In the meantime, check out this video where I talk about how to make people like you.